तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं वदामह्यं ददाति स पदान्यहं वैष्णवां श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगनाथामितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनाः सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपालान् सघना ललिता श्री विशाखामितां च नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम नमस्ते सरस्वते कृष्णे गौतमानि विस्तारिणे निर्विशेष शून्ये पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महापुण्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतसे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तत्र कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी कृष्णानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय च नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। Hare Krishna. So devotees had some questions. So if they remember the questions, they can ask. Otherwise, we will start and later on devotees can answer. Okay, yes. This Dutti Mataji, who is there, or Diksha Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, actually last class I was not in Delhi, so I had missed. So Prabhuji, can you just give small brief? If nobody has any question, if you can just give 5 minutes briefing, Prabhuji.
Okay. So in the previous class, we were discussing about the prayers by Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, we had discussed around 11 prayers because we were there only for 1 hour. So we had discussed about Lord Brahma, how Lord Brahma, as a secondary creator, he starts offering prayers to Garbhodaksha Vishnu. The first 5 prayers were prayers about the form of the Lord. That how among all the things which are knowable in this world, Lord's form is most knowable. Then how his form is origin of everything. How Lord is a person. So he was condemning the people who have a conception saying that Lord is impersonalist. Then how Lord's form is auspicious form, so it is liberating, not binding in this world. And the 5th prayer was about how Lord dwells in the heart of all the devotees. Then he was discussing about the disqualification and predicament of conditioned souls. So then he was discussing how misidentification with the body is the cause of anxieties. Despite that, people who don't hear Hari Katha, they are unfortunate. Then verse number 8, we had discussed how Jiva is in such a pitiable situation. In 9th, there was discussion about how bodily identification binds a person in this world. Then there was discussion of frustration of non-devotees. And in 11th verse, which was like very important verse, we had discussed about how devotees see the form of the Lord through their ears by hearing. And then Lord also reveals himself in different forms depending on the desire of the devotees. Whatever the desire they have, accordingly they see the Lord. So this was 11 prayers in glimpse, and we will start with 12. So I hope it made some sense, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, sir. Dhananjay,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisance. So I had one questions at the end. So that was that because from your last lectures and when we see that, so when first day of Brahma when he meditates and Lord showed him his Vaikuntha. And end of his 100 years, last day, so till that time he is unable to explore that where the the lotus flower has originated. So he has no conceptions of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, which he realized only at the last day, end of this 100 years, where he sees that this lotus is coming from the puddle of the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then the last day of the Brahma, he realized that what is his origin, and he come across this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, for which he has the prayer. So is this understanding correct? And if you can elaborate, because you have a crystal clarity about all these many complex things which we fallen soul unable to understand. Yeah.
So I'm also foreign. I just had some understanding. So these 100 years, actually 100 years are not 100 years of life of Brahma. These 100 years are 100 celestial years. Now the celestial year is like a very not so clear statement, because as we know, there are relative time scales in different planetary systems. So certainly it is sure that it is not 100 years of Brahma's lifetime. So this may be 100 years of maybe Swargaloka, which looks like more probable. So, and these particular prayers, actually, they are not at the either of the beginning of life of Brahma, nor at the end of life of Brahma. They are at the end of day of Brahma. After the end of day of Brahma, there is a devastation till Swargaloka. But Brahma also goes to sleep. And again, this whole lotus comes out. But the living entities on the top planetary system, they are not destroyed actually at that time. So this is like what these prayers are the prayers at the beginning of day of Brahma. So that is what we understood from the purport of different acharyas in this chapter. Could it give some understanding, Dhananjay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, because when I was going through the entire this chapter, so somewhere at the end it was coming sweeper, and even when you study this whole Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, so this gives the impressions that what the Brahma, when the Lord shows him, that is a Vaikuntha, and so he has till now, till that time, he has not realized that what is this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So from there, some of the confusion was coming. So thank you, Prabhuji, for clarifying.
Mm-hmm. And there was like a bit of discussion with our other teachers, where we understood is that this particular day is like at the end of 50th year of Brahma. Because in each one pararda, it happens that Brahmaji goes to sleep and the lotus goes down also. So that happens in pararda. One pararda is like 50 years of Brahma's life. So this is like the first day of his Golden Jubilee celebration. On the Golden Jubilee celebration, Brahmaji got the realization of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and offered him prayers. So that is what we understand.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Chaitanya Haripu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the description, because I was always wondering that Lord Brahma, from the beginning of the day, he realized, because after the first the annihilation until to the Satyaloka, he goes to sleep. The next day when he wake up, he goes back again into the same situation, right?
Yeah. So he goes in same situation, but it's not exactly same. So, yes, please. So you can complete your question, and maybe I can clarify this.
No, is it not that like when the first time, I mean, the description given that he don't know anything, and then everything is dark, and then he goes into the stem and couldn't find, and then come back and do tapasya. Is that situation is what has been described, that for 100 years he do the tapasya and then only come to realization? Is that situation?
Yeah, that is the situation practically in every day, because when Brahmaji goes to sleep, then he loses
Yeah.
that, you can say, Vedic knowledge.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And then the Vedic knowledge is revealed to him.
For
And
that-
it
that-
now it means, I'm not very sure whether it happens on the every day of Brahma, every night of Brahma. Certainly it does happen many a times.
okay.
Like we have this Haigiri avatar where Madhu and Kaitav, they steal the Vedas.
Okay. Thank you.
So that time also he forgets. Okay. Hari Hari. So now we'll go to verse number 12.
Okay. Thank you.
Hari Hari. Now somehow this only half is coming. So this one I'll share it again. There's some technical problem. So now we were in text number 12. Please read this text number 12. It's getting loaded. Somebody can read both the translation and the purport. Yes, Diksha Mata, you want to?
My lord, you are not very much satisfied by the worship of the demigods, who arrange for your worship very pompously, with various paraphernalia, but who are full of material hankerings. You are situated in everyone's heart as a super soul, just to show your causeless mercy, and you are the eternal well-wisher, but you are unavailable for the non-devotee. Transferred by Shri Prabhupada, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. The demigods in the celestial heavenly planets, who are appointed administrators of the material affairs, are also devotees of the Lord. But at the same time, they have desires for material opulence and sense gratification. The Lord is so kind that He awards them all sorts of material happiness, more than they can desire. But He is not satisfied with them because they are not pure devotees. The Lord does not want any one of His innumerable sons, the living entities, to remain in the material world of threefold miseries, to perpetually suffer the material pangs of birth, death, old age, and disease. The demigods in the heavenly planets and many devotees on this planet also want to remain in the material world as devotees of the Lord and take advantage of material happiness. They do so at a risk of falling down to the lower status of existence, and this makes the Lord dissatisfied with them. Pure devotees are not desirous of any material enjoyment, nor are they averse to it. They completely dovetail their desires with the desires of the Lord and perform nothing on their personal account. Arjun is a good example. On his own sentiment, due to family affection, Arjun did not want to fight, but finally, after hearing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he agreed to fight in the interest of the Lord. Therefore, the Lord is very much satisfied with pure devotees because they do not act for sense gratification, but only in terms of the Lord's desire. As Paramatma or Super Soul, he is situated in everyone's heart, always giving everyone the chance of good counsel. Thus, everyone should take the opportunity and render transcendental loving service to him wholly and solely. The non-devotees, however, are neither like the demigods nor like the pure devotees, but are averse to the transcendental relationship with the Lord. They have revolted against the Lord and must perpetually undergo the reactions of their own activities. Bhagavad Gita 4.11 states, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiv bhajamyaham. Although the Lord is equally kind to every living being, the living beings, for their own part, are able to please the Lord to either a greater or lesser extent. The demigods are called Sakama devotees or devotees with material desires in mind, while the pure devotees are called Nishkam devotees because they have no desires for their personal interest. The Sakam devotees are self-interested because they do not think of others, and therefore they are not able to satisfy the Lord perfectly, whereas the pure devotees take the missionary responsibility of turning non-devotees into devotees, and they are therefore able to satisfy the Lord more than the demigods. The Lord is unmindful of the non-devotees, although he is sitting within everyone's heart as well-wisher and super soul. However, he also gives them a chance to receive his mercy through his pure devotees who are engaged in missionary activities. Sometimes the Lord himself descends for missionary activities, as he did in the form of Lord Chaitanya. But mostly he sends his bona fide representatives, and thus he shows his causeless mercy towards the non-devotees. The Lord is so satisfied with his pure devotees that he wants to give them the credit for missionary success, although he could do the work personally. This is a sign of his satisfaction with his pure Nishkam devotees compared to these Sakam devotees. By such transcendental activities, the Lord simultaneously becomes free from the chance of partiality and exhibits his pleasure with the devotees. Now, a question arises, if the Lord is sitting in the hearts of non-devotees, why are they not moved to become devotees? It may be answered that the stubborn non-devotees are like the barren land or alkaline field where no agricultural activities can be successful. As part and parcel of the Lord, every individual living entity has a minute quantity of independence, and by misuse of this minute independence, the non-devotees commit offenses after offense to both the Lord and his pure devotees engaged in missionary work. As a result of such acts, they become as barren as an alkaline field where there is no strength to produce.
So in this particular purport, Prabhupada has highlighted two important points why Lord loves his pure devotees. So can somebody tell the 2 points which Prabhupada has highlighted throughout the purport? You even just have a try. Yes, Siddha Hari Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Like they are engaged in the missionary activities of the Lord, reclaiming the souls back to Godhead. So one point is coming in my mind.
That is very clear. Yes, Mr. Yatu. Thank you. Yes, Duti Dupi Mataji.
So, Fraji, that they have no desires for their personal interests. That's why they are dear to.
Yes, thank you. So these are two important points which Prabhupada has highlighted. One is they have no material desires. Second is they have compassion for other living entities. So these two particular qualities of a pure devotees make a pure devotee very dear to Krishna. So having material desires, what is it compared to in different other purports of Prabhupada and even other scriptures? Having material desires, what is it compared to?
Demigods.
Yeah.
Demigods.
Demigods are there.
So can you clarify the question once? Like,
Okay. Material desires, they are compared to certain analogies, having material desires in the heart. So in different purports and different translations of various scriptures, various verses, what are they compared to?
It is like a alkaline
Serpents.
land.
Yeah, so in this particular purport purpose compared to alkaline field, of course, that is even the offend devotees because of that also. Yeah, so it's compared to alkaline field, having material heart with material desires. Yes, Chitta Hari Krishna Prabhu, you have, okay.
so it's like with venomous serpents purposes.
Yeah, it is compared to venom,
That is compared to venom.
compared to venom. And Mahaprabhu says that they ask for poison, but I don't give them poison. I give them Swacharanamrit. I give them nectar of the lotus, of my own lotus feet. So material desires are compared to poison. Something else they are compared to material desires.
It is also like waves. In Bhagavad Gita it is said, many waves enter into the ocean. The ocean is not
Yeah.
agitated. Similarly, many desires come into the eye.
So they are compared to rivers.
Rivers.
Apura Machalam Pratishtam. Yes, they are compared to- so they are compared to rivers of material desires. Yeah. And many other places they are compared to sand in a sweet rice. Different analogies are given. So why material desires are so much condemned? Because to enjoy material sense gratification is not a nature of the soul. It is the nature of the soul to enjoy spiritual pleasures, not the material pleasures. And that is why it is so much condemned. Yeah. Okay. And second one was compassion. So now we'll go to the further verses. And because of this reason, pure devotees are considered better than demigods. Although demigods are given higher powers and higher responsibilities in material administration of this world, but because demigods have both material desires and they don't have such a compassion for living entities. And that is the reason pure devotees are considered even better than demigods. Please read text 30. Translation, just translation.
But the pious activities of the people, such as performance of Vedic rituals, charity, austere penances, and transcendental service, performed with a view to worship you and satisfy you by offering you the fruitive results, are also beneficial. Such acts of religion never go in vain.
So why are they considered beneficial? Why are pious activities considered to be beneficial? Yes, Diksha Mataji.
Because they are performed with the intention to worship the Lord, to please the Lord.
Okay. See, if they are done with a desire to please the Lord, then that is called devotion service. Because we are talking about material piety. Just people performing with the rituals and material piety. Yes.
Purification.
Purification. So they also give purification. But what is meaning of that purification? What does one get purified of?
Lower modes.
Yeah, modes of passion and mode of ignorance. Yeah. Yes, Chitta Hari Prabhu.
Like as we say, akama sarva kamava moksha kamoda. So at least they are approaching the Lord for their satisfaction of their desire, and in this way they will gradually get purified. Like Dhruv Maharaj, that was mine.
Okay.
In that sense, they are beneficial.
Let us take that performance for demigod then.
Yes.
Then is it beneficial or not beneficial?
Yes, Prabhuji, I could not heard you. Very.
if they are performed for demigods, not for the Supreme Lord, like you quoted Akama Sarukamova Muksidama Kudardi, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. But if let us say they are not performing Bhakti Yoga, but they are performing some Vedic rituals and performing charity for the purpose of what demigod worship, then is it beneficial or not beneficial?
I think it is not that beneficial.
Okay.
Here it is said with a view to worship you and satisfy you. So this
No, but I'm asking this question, whether for demigods is it beneficial or not beneficial?
not that beneficial.
Not that.
Yajanti aviti purvakam.
Yeah. Right. Okay, two more comments we'll take. Rati Prada Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, at least they are beginning to follow something from the Vedic thing. So in the future, we can expect that they are accepting the authority at least.
Yes, actually they are under the Vedic umbrella and they have a chance to get purified. Yes. Okay. Duti Mataji had same comment?
Yes, Praji, that it increases the faith in Veda. So slowly they can then rise from the levels, the Rig Veda and like the Karm Kandi and then ultimately can reach the Upasana Kandi. So
Yeah. Yes. In the sense that they are under the Vedic umbrella and they have at least begun to climb on the yoga ladder, it is beneficial. But it is not going to be very fast. It is going to be very slow. And also they are not going to get the ultimate aspect of Krishna, that is Bhagavan realization. They will maximum get only Brahman realization, even if they go at the top of the yoga ladder. So if they want to get Bhagavan realization, they have to take to bhakti. But certainly if it is done with a view to worship Krishna, then it's like very beneficial. Because very soon material desires will subside. It is just a matter of time. So for a devotee, if he has material desires, it is just a matter of time his material desires will go away. So that is why it's always beneficial for devotees to approach Krishna even if they have material desires, rather than going to the demigods. Because if we come to Krishna, Krishna will not just fulfill our desires, he will also purify our heart of the material desires. Ratipata Mataji had hand raised from beginning or?
No, sorry, Prabhuji. That was in the beginning.
Beginning. Okay, so this is about pious activities. That is how Brahmaji, he glorifies worship of Krishna as compared to all other demigods. And now the prayer is, I offer you my obeisances. So let us go one by one. So somebody can read text 14.
Let me offer my obeisances unto the supreme transcendence, who is eternally distinguished by his eternal internal potency. His indistinguishable impersonal feature is realized by intelligence for self-realization. I offer my obeisances unto him, who by his pastimes enjoys the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of cosmic manifestation.
Yeah. Now, in the previous verses, 2 verses, Brahmaji was glorifying the position of a devotee. Initially, he was glorifying a devotee who has no material desires but has compassion for the living entities. In text number 13, Brahmaji was glorifying even devotees who have material desires, but they approach the Supreme Lord. They also get purified gradually. And in this text number 14, Brahmaji is glorifying the form of the Lord, which is meant for impersonalists as well as for the devotees. So initially he glorifies impersonal feature, which is inbuilt feature of the Lord. And then of course it is not basically Bhagavan realization, second one, it is Paramatma realization. Because as we had read in the previous unit, Sri Vishnus are the cause of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. Garbhadaksha, Karnodaksha, and Chirodaksha Vishnus. And all these Sri Vishnu, they are called Paramatmas because they deal with matter. So he glorifies the Brahman aspect and then the Paramatma aspect. And then text number 50, somebody can read.
Let me take shelter of the lotus feet of him whose incarnations, qualities, and activities are mysterious imitations of worldly affairs. One who invokes his transcendental names, even unconsciously at the time he quits his life. This is certainly washed immediately of the sins of many, many births and attains him without fail.
Yeah. And now in this verse, he's glorifying the Bhagavan aspect of the Lord, which is meant for devotees. And he announces of the Lord's highest mercy is that he gives abode to even those people who are like animals. What to say people like animals, Lord also gives awards the highest abode to the animals also. So we have numberless examples of animals getting the highest abode. Can somebody name some of the examples?
Elephant.
Huh?
Elephant.
Elephant. What was the name of elephant? Gajendra.
Gajendra.
Yeah. Some other example? Yes, Krishna.
Shivanand Sen's dog.
Yeah, Shivanand Sen's dog. What was Shivanand Sen's dog even before Mahaprabhu appeared in the town of Gurraj Khan? So Mahaprabhu said, Gurraj Khan who has written Sri Krishna Vijay. So he has spoken one verse in his book, Nanda Nandan Krishna More Prananath. So just by this particular verse, Gurraj Khan has become so dear to me, and even a dog in his village is very dear to me. So devotee are so powerful. Yeah. Some other examples?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he himself, when he was in Nimai Pandit, he brought a dog, and so that dog, when his mother Sachi Mata, in his absence, is released him, and he was doing kirtan in the marketplace. So that.
Yeah. So puppy dog. So puppy dog was there. Then Jharkhand, he delivered so many animals. So I was preaching in that place in a nearby youth center in Ranchi. So that place called Charan Pahadi, a place called Puju. It is very near to Ranchi. So there is still there footprints of different animals. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's footprints are there. Devotees can sometimes go and visit there. So there he delivered so many animals. And then in Ramlila also, Lord delivered some animals or numberless animals. Who are there?
Monkeys.
Yeah, monkeys, deer.
Jatayu.
A squirrel.
Squirrel. So many animals Lord had delivered. So that is how even people who are like animals can be delivered if they chant Namabhas. Namabhas is so powerful. And that is the mercy of Prabhupada which he has given to all of us actually. We may not realize it, but even Namabhas, practically every ISKCON devotee chants Namabhas. Anyone who chants with an understanding that Lord is not different from his holy name is chanting Namabhas. So, just by chanting Namabhas, in persons like even animals. My voice is breaking. Is it breaking to everyone? Hari Hari?
Yes,
So, I'll try with one more device. Okay, till my next device ready. Devotee can I'll just read the next verse and then I'll explain it. Text 16.
Your lordship is the yes, Prabhu.
Your lordship is the prime root of the tree of the planetary systems. This tree has grown by first penetrating the material nature in three trunks, as me, Shiva, and you, the Almighty, for creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And we three have grown with many branches. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you, the tree of the cosmic manifestation.
So, Lord is compared to tree here. In this particular, is my voice still breaking or it is okay now?
Not so
It's okay now, Prabhuji.
Okay,
It's
no,
okay.
very clear.
Okay. Yeah, fine. So in the next verse, Lord is compared to a cosmic tree. And so Lord is considered to the Moolam, Atma Moolam. He is the root of the tree. There are many other places where Lord is compared to tree. Like we have this verse, Yatha Taror Moolene Sechenena Tripende Skand Bhajo Pisaka. Prano Bharacha Yatendranam Tatev Sarvahanam Achiteje. So pouring the water in the root of the tree nourishes the whole tree. But this tree, when we are talking about tree, this basically tree is compared to material world, which is same tree is compared to material Asvattha in Bhagavad Gita. And from Lord comes Pradhan, that's Atma Moolam. And then from this Pradhan, three other branches come. That's Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So from Garbhodaksha Vishnu comes Brahma. His expansion is Kshirodaksha Vishnu. And further through the agency of Brahma comes Shiva. So that is how all these three branches ultimately come from Ashwini Matani. I can't mute her. Someone can mute her.
Edit, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah. So in this way, three branches come Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. So as I told, from Garbhodaksha Vishnu comes Brahma. His expansion is Kshirodaksha Vishnu. And from Brahma further comes Lord Shiva. So that is how all these three personalities ultimately come from the Supreme Lord. Please read 17th.
People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time.
So in this particular verse, Brahmaji, after speaking about universal form in the previous verse, now in this verse, he worshipped the Lord as a time factor. So it is from Lord only, from his glance comes Lord Shiva. And then Lord Shiva is called Mahakal. So those who stay in Ujjain, so we have some devotees from Ujjain here.
Yes.
Yeah. So Mahakal, this Mahakal also is one of the aspects of the Supreme Lord. Is one of the aspects of the Supreme Lord. So in this way, Lord comes in the form of time factors, and that is how he controls this world. How he controls this world? Knowingly, unknowingly, each one of us are struggling with time. Like here also, We are supposed to complete this course in time. I can't say no, eternally this course can going on, this unit can go on. We are struggling with time. Similarly, for anything, for getting up, chanting our japa, no, for anything, we do have struggle with time. We have to cover a particular task in time. So that is how knowingly, unknowingly, each one of us are struggling with time. And that Prabhupada writes as struggle for existence. And ultimately, this whole struggle for existence is cut into pieces at the time of death. So that is how time factor is so powerful, it governs everything. Now, text 18, somebody got any text 18?
Your Lordship, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you, who are indefatigable time and the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Although I am situated in an abode which will continue to exist for a time duration of 2 prardhas, although I am the leader of all other planets in this universe, and although I have undergone many years of penance for self-realization, still I offer my respect unto you. Hare Krishna.
So, Brahmaji says, even I am fearful of time. He gives his own example. Now, Brahmaji has the highest lifespan in the entire universe. And he says, I still stay for only 2 parardhas. So, 1 parardha is 50 years of life of Brahma. And Brahma lives of 311 trillion, 40 billion years. And he says, I stay only for 2 parardhas. So, that means even he is controlled by time. What to say of any one of us? And then he was saying, Vishwanath Thakur gives a beautiful commentary on this. He says, that I fear time because I was doing all these sacrifices so that I can control time. But after my entire sacrifice, I realized I can't control time. And because I can't control time, I will perform only pure bhakti. Because in pure bhakti, we don't control time, but we utilize time. So there's a famous verse you have read. What is that verse?
That is Ayor Harati Vepamsam. That is
Ayor Harati Vepamsam. Ayor Harati Vepamsam Udyan Astanta Yanaso Tasrite Yat Chanonita Uttam Shloka Vartaya. So except those who are doing Uttam Shloka Vartaya, those who are discussing Krishna Katha, everybody is losing time with the rising and setting of the sun. But if somebody is a devotee, doesn't he also lose his life? Devotees will lose their life. So why this verse says that now those who are doing Uttam Shlok Vartya, they don't lose their life? As if devotees are going to eternally have their material bodies.
It doesn't make a difference to them
Okay.
because they are serving Krishna here, and even after leaving the body, they'll be serving Krishna.
Okay. So Mata is not fearful of time. She's saying, here or after this life, we'll always serve Krishna. I'm not fearful of time. Yes, Chitta Hare Krishna.
Because they are engaged in discussing about Lord Krishna, they are moving to immortality. So because of time, like losing the others, others are losing their life and they will have to come again and again. But devotee is moving to eternity or immortality. That's why.
So now devotees may be controlled by time, but in due course of time, they'll be out of grip of time. Yes, Vishnu Kanta Matan.
Prabhuji, as time passes, they come closer to Krishna as they are engaged in devotional service.
Yeah, so they come closer to Krishna. And in other words, if you say devotees don't spend time, devotees invest time. Devotees invest time and they get eternity in return. Devotees give physical strength and get spiritual benefit, which is going to go away anyway. Devotees give their material intelligence and gain spiritual intelligence. So that is how devotees don't spend, they invest. There's a big difference between investing and spending. So that is how, as all of you said, we go closer to Krishna, we go closer to eternity. Please read 19th.
O my Lord, by your own will, you appear in the various species of living entities, among animals lower than human beings, as well as among the demigods, to perform your transcendental pastimes. You are not affected by material contamination. You come just to fulfill the obligations of your own principles of religion. And therefore, O Supreme Personality, I offer my obeisances unto you for manifesting such different forms.
Yeah. So earlier Brahmaji was offering obeisances to the Lord as impersonal Brahman, then as Paramatma, then universal form, then time factor till the previous verse. And in this verse, Brahmaji is offering obeisances to the Lord's body is made up of Satchidananda, eternity, knowledge and bliss. So Lord has innumerable forms among animals, demigods, human beings, and they all are made up of Satchidananda. He comes in those forms to establish the religion of Sravanam Kirtanam. So in this way, by coming in all different species, Lord attracts everyone in all the species. So that is how Lord comes in those forms to accept the service of devotees, to leave Sravanam Kirtanam for them. Because when he comes and performs his pastimes, Lord allows devotees to worship. In what all forms Lord comes as animals? Quickly, devotees can read names.
Matsya,
Lion,
Hmm.
Narsingh,
Purva Matsya Vara.
Matsya, Kurma, Vara. Nursing avatar, doubtful, we can't say animal species. Yes. Diksha Mataji?
Hans avatar.
Hams avatar. Okay. In what all forms Lord comes as human-like forms?
Vaman,
Lord Ram,
Ram, Krishna.
Krishna.
Vamana is not. We'll discuss separately. It's not Vamana. Lord Ram, Krishna,
No.
then
Balram.
Balram,
Balaram,
Buddha.
Buddha,
Kalki,
Prabhu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Rishabdev, Prabhu Maharaj.
Yes.
Kapila,
Kapila.
Rishabdev,
Yes. So many.
Parashuram,
In what form comes as demigod?
Vaman, he comes as the
Vaman,
Vamandev is demigod. He's Upendra.
Open.
Some other forms?
Narayan, that Narayan is
Narayana also you can say yes. Because he's the son of Dharma. Dharma is a demigod. Some other form?
What about Parashurama, Prabhu?
Parashurama later on became a demigod, although initially he was not a demigod. Now he is one of the Saptarishis. So maybe we can take. Then Yajna. because he took the post of, but being a son of, grandson of Manu, we can say is a human being in that sense. But he took the post of Indra. So many forms are there. Yeah.
Sometimes when we don't have anyone eligible, then he comes as Brahma also.
Yes, yes, yes. So he comes in different, he occupies different posts of demigods whenever nobody is eligible. Okay. So now we'll go 20th.
My Lord.
My Lord, you accept the pleasure of sleeping in the water of devastation, where there are violent waves, and you enjoy pleasure on the bed of snakes, showing the happiness of your sleep to intelligent persons. At that time,
So in Hare Krishna. Yeah. So just a minute. What I'll do is I'll connect. Am I audible now properly?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So I change my network. So in this verse and the next verse, Lord is Brahmaji is glorifying the form of the Lord which he is seeing personally. That is Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So in 20 and 21, he is glorifying Garbhodaksha Vishnu directly. So Lord sleeps without being overcome by ignorance. So like we are conquered by ignorance, but Lord is not conquered by ignorance, and that is the reason Lord is said to be having Yoga Nidra. Now those people who know yoga, they know Yoga Nidra is not sleeping. And Yoga Nidra, you just circulate your consciousness in different parts of the body and relax the body. So that is how Lord is not conquered by ignorance when he takes Yoga Nidra. Rather, his sleep is not like the yoga also. His sleep is composed of his own Swarup Shakti. It is spiritual. It is not material. Our sleep is composed of more ignorance. Lord's sleep is composed of his Swarup Shakti. And Lord has all the living entities who have merged in his belly, and then they come out of the lotus whenever there is a creation. And how is this sleep made? Hare Krishna. And how is that sleep made comfortable? Because he sleeps on the couch of Anand says. All the snakes in this world are so soft, but nobody will ever get a sleep, even if snake comes nearby. What to say of sleeping on the snake? And generally, when we want to wake up some person, we put water on him. So Lord is so amazing. He sleeps on the snake, just thousands of feet, always looking at the Lord. Lord sleeps in the middle of water of devastation, where there are heavy winds. So many winds are going on. Even Brahma is fearful. At the same time, Lord is not conquered by sleep in mode of ignorance, that he forgets everything. So that's specialty of Lord's sleep. Please read next one.
O object of my worship, I am born from the house of your lotus navel for the purpose of creating the universe by your mercy. All these planets of the universe were stationed within your transcendental abdomen while you were enjoying sleep. Now, your sleep having ended, your eyes are open like blossoming lotuses in the morning.
So in this particular verse, verse number 21, Brahmaji is further continuing the glorification of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And he says, I arose from the lotus which came from her navel. So in that sense, you are my mother and father, both. But because Lord is spiritual in nature, that's why sometimes Brahmaji is called Swambhu, who came by himself. Although he came in, and Prabhupada gives a very graphical example spoken by Prabhupada in many places. Prabhupada says that is Supreme Lord. Although Lakshmi was always massaging his feet, but he didn't need the agency of Lakshmi to produce a child. He produced a four-headed child, not like ordinary child, that too without agency of Lakshmi, directly from his navel. That is called Supreme Lord. So in this way, Lord created Brahma, who created the three worlds. But really speaking, my dear Lord, although I created this world, actually this material realm was already situated in your belly only. It just came. So that is the truth. Material world also is always present as Virat Roop, which is like a blueprint, and Brahmaji just continues creation on that by setting things on the proper place. Please read at 22.
Let the Supreme Lord be merciful towards me. He is the one friend and soul of all living entities in the world, and he maintains all for their ultimate happiness by his six transcendental opulences. May he be merciful towards me, so that I, as before, may be empowered with the introspection to create. For I am also one of the surrendered souls who are dear to the Lord.
Now in this verse, verse number 22, Brahmaji is making a request. Actually, here onwards, if for the next four verses, these 22, 23, 24, and 25, these four verses, Brahmaji is going to make a request. So he says, Lord is protector of all material and spiritual worlds. He is abode of Atma, means unconditioned prem. And he is abode of prem, abode of love. He gives happiness to this world in the form of Sattva-guna. In that form of Sattva-guna, being protector of this world as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he gives happiness to all the devotees also. And let that Supreme Lord protect me also. Let me also get some Sattva-guna. Let me also get some mental wisdom. And let me also get his spiritual qualities so that I get spiritual wisdom also. And then I will learn how to create. How to create material entities like Marichi and spiritual beings like Narada. And that is how he offers first prayer, personal prayer, you can say, in the sense for creation. Because he wanted to get empowered for creation. So he prays to the Lord for being empowered to create. And now you can repeat this verse, it's a famous verse. Esa prapanna varado ramayatma saktya.
Esa prapanna vardo ramyatsa saktya.
यद्यत् करिष्यति गृहीत गुणावतारः
गुणावतारः
तस्मिन् स्वविकर्ममिदं सजतोऽपि चेतो
तस्मिन्
स्वविकारमम्
स्वविकर्मं
इदं
सृजेतोऽपि
सृजतोऽपि
चेतो
युञ्जीत कर्म समलं च यथा विजयाम्
युञ्जिता कर्म समलं च यथा
यथा
विजया
विजयम्.
Please read translation purpose.
The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is always the benefactor of the surrendered souls. His activities are always enacted through his internal potency, Rama, or the goddess of fortune. I pray only to engage in his service in the creation of the material world, and I pray that I not be materially affected by my works, for thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. Purport. In the matter of material creation, maintenance, and destruction, there are three incarnations of the material modes of nature, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. But the Lord's incarnation as Vishnu, in his internal potency, is the supreme energy for the total activities. Brahma, who is only an assistant in the modes of creation, wanted to remain in his actual position as an instrument of the Lord instead of becoming puffed up by the false prestige of thinking himself the creator. That is the way of becoming dear to the Supreme Lord and receiving his benedictions. Foolish men want to take credit for all creations made by them, but intelligent persons know very well that not a blade of grass can move without the will of the Lord. Thus, all the credit for wonderful creations must go to him. By spiritual consciousness only can one be free from the contamination of material affection and receive the benedictions offered by the Lord.
I'll just complete this purport and then Chitta Hari Krishna Prabhu can ask the question. So, in this particular verse, Brahma is very fearful of Rajaguna because creation is done in Rajaguna. And that is why Brahmaji is praying for the well-being of his bhakti. So when devotees have to interact with this world, generally they become very fearful. So many of our devotees, when they go out for preaching or they go out in the outside world, so they become fearful. And then there's the reality also. In our youth preaching, what we have seen is after, like, students, they stay with us in our youth centers for a long time, but when they pass out, at least 1/3 of them will really pass out from bhakti only. Because material world is very dangerous, very absorbing. And that is the reason Brahmaji is very fearful. Because Brahmaji has to practically create the entire creation. So that's why he prays that, my dear Lord, please give me benediction so that I can preserve my bhakti. Because you give benediction to those who are surrendered, I surrender to you, please protect my bhakti. Because you also have one quality, that is the quality of having affection for the devotees. So I am also a devotee. I have performed penances to please you. Please protect my bhakti. So when I am engaged in creation, let me be invested the power which you have. You had power like lifting up the earth. Let me have that sort of power, spiritual power, not a material power. Let my mind not be attached to the doer's mentality. Because doer's mentality binds a person. So there are different levels of binding. And generally, people are aware of only first level of binding. So first level of binding is binding by sins. So those who are generally pious Indians or pious people, they know that sin is binding. But sin is not the only binding one. More subtle than sin but certainly little higher, is binding of piety. Piety is also binding. Then after piety, what is binding is doership mentality. So doership mentality is also binding. Even if somebody is free from doership mentality, then he is bound by false ego, that I am this body and things belonging to this body are mine. So there are different levels of binding, and Brahmaji is basically talking here about being bound by doership mentality. So if despite being devotees for many years, it's very difficult to give up the doership mentality. I'll give one example to understand a little more about doership mentality. So in one place, I went for this Bhakti Vriksha program, and the program was really very successful, very successful. So there were like around 60-70 top businessmen who were part of the Bhakti Vriksha. So I just sat in the car, one devotee came to receive me, and then this devotee was telling me that, Prabhu, you know, this particular Bhakti Vriksha is so successful, so many people have joined, they're so influential people. And then he asked that, do you know who made this group? I was also very eager to know who was that person. And then he said, Prabhu, the person talking to you is the one who made this group. And I was like, really impressed by him. So then I went for the program. So while program was going to start, they were having certain arrangements of mic system, this, there, where people will sit. And then one devotee came to me and he said, oh, this devotee, that devotee is owning this company, that company, that company. I said, okay, oh, very nice. Then he said, do you know who is the person behind this whole preaching? I was going to tell the name of the devotee was there in the car. He said, Prabhu, why are you so surprised? I am that person. I told, okay. Then after the whole program was there, then we were sitting for prasad. One devotee sat next to me for prasad. And then he asked me the same question. And then he said he was that person. So the actual truth was all these people were participating and they had things in coordination, and that is how this whole group came out. But the problem with us is that we want the credit. We want the credit. So I am ready to become a servant, but I want to be recognized for creating this group. And actually speaking, many times that becomes such a need for the subtle body. Otherwise, no, we become frustrated. So that is how this doership mentality is so binding. And Brahmaji is praying, my dear Lord, please free me from this binding. So I am going to create the whole world as per your desire, giving an opportunity to all living entities to go back to Godhead and fulfill their desires in this world. Let me not be bound by doership mentality. Chitta Hari Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My question was similar, like credit-seeking tendency, how to overcome it. Like in many services, book distribution, preaching, etc., we fall into that trap of achieving mood, and the mood of service is in the background sometimes. Naturally, we do things for the success only, and when we do it for success, then because we see that we are doing it, so the other thing, that is the pure desire to do activities for the sake of service of the Lord, looks hard to achieve. So I just wanted to have some guidance from you to how to overcome this credit-seeking mentality, and then what can be the pure motivation for doing the activities.
So certainly I am not qualified person to give session, but I can speak what I read from scriptures, and sometimes I do practice it. So in verse number 18.14 of Bhagavad Gita, 18.14, 1.8.14, 18.14. In verse, I can write in the chat box also. Adhishthanam Tatha Karta, this verse. Krishna speaks about 5 factors for accomplishing any work. And out of 5 factors, only 1 factor is in our hand, that is chesta. Amazingly. Even among chesta is not our only chesta. So many people chesta is there. For example, when I am giving this Bhakti Shastri unit, so many people are supposed to be given credit for that. I can't even count them. We are certainly indebted to Srila Prabhupada, who has given the purports. So many acharyas have written the purports, and that is how, by seeing them, Prabhupada has written his purports. Then there are so many devotees involved in BBT who had published Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And then so many devotees who have even distributed Bhagavad Gita. And that is, and Bhagavatam. And that is how we got Bhagavatam. So many devotees involved in making Mayapur Institute, conducting this whole online course. Here, Duti Mata is the coordinator. Then all of you are regularly coming. Many times, many batches get dissolved also. My parents have given me this body. So many devotees have preached to me, given me wisdom. And if I say that I am the person who deserves the credit for giving this class, I will be a fool. So on a practical level, what we should do is, we should give credit to other people also. When we consciously give credit to other people who are involved in the success, automatically we are forced to come out of the illusion that we are the cause of the success. So we have to do it sometimes literally. Literally, we have to give credit to other devotees. Literally, we have to thank Krishna in front of the deities and say that, my dear Lord, it is because you gave me so many facilities through so many acharyas that I am able to serve you. So when we make it a second nature to give credit to other devotees, so then automatically what happens is, we get rid of this credit seeking tendency. And I've seen this among very senior devotees. Many programs, at least I can remember, yes, at least 2 programs very graphically, in which Bhakti Charu Maharaj and Radhanand Maharaj came. One of the programs, practically half of the program went when they were giving credit to each other. Then we went in from Calcutta to Panihati in a boat, and both of them were trying to assist each other. And they were like giving credit to each other. Bhakti Charu Maharaj was telling, you are very fortunate that now you got an opportunity to sit alone. Only 20 people are there and they're sitting with Radhanath Swami. And then Radhanath Maharaj was like, glorifying Bhakti Charu Maharaj. I was just a small milking boy there in New Vrindavan. Maharaj had done so much service for Prabhupada, is a personal secretary. So it's like they have this habit of giving credit to other people. And that is how these exalted souls, they don't get attached to the credits. Prabhupada himself, he would give so much credit to his disciples. Now, practically speaking, his disciples in those days, they didn't know anything. Subhak Sharma was telling a funny story that Prabhupada went in one temple, and Prabhupada was about to circumambulate Tulsi Maharani, and then he looked very closely. Prabhupada said, this is not Tulsi. And devotee said, Prabhupada, this is sister of Tulsi Maharani, sister plant of Tulsi Maharani. Prabhupada said, where in the scripture is written that you have to worship the sister of Tulsi Maharani? And Prabhupada would say that I am an old man, I have no energy. It is because of the instruction of my spiritual master and because of you Westerners that I am able to preach so much. So such a big acharya takes no credit, then who are we? So we have to, practically speaking, we have to make an effort by giving credit to other devotees. That is personally I do, and I sometimes find it beneficial. Okay, Chitta Haripu, to the best of my realization.
Thank
Hari.
you.
Yes, sir. Rati Pradhan Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, sometimes it happens that, like in this example, when Brahmaji is saying that I'm your devotee and I've done austerity for you to please you, and I want you to protect me. while I do the creation. So like that, even generally we also, like everybody faces some difficulties, and at that time we think of doing some austerity. But then it is also mentioned that we should not do austerities that are not mentioned in the Vedas. But some people, like, they give up something, they eat only once a day, or they give up what they like, something like that. So can we do that? Like, it's like uh, doing austerity according to our own calculation. So can we do that?
Very simple example. Iska answer is Anukula Sankalpa Pratikula Suvarjanam. Whatever is fit for Krishna consciousness, we do that. And for us, very simple, whatever enhances our Shravanam Kirtanam, we should do that. That's very easy for us. So many times we have seen this, like certain devotees, they do Nizal fasting on Ekadasi and they are able to chant more rounds. Certain devotees, they do Nizal Ekadasi and beat back drops off from their hand. They have no energy. Then they should drink water and chant Hare Krishna. So whatever is favorable for our Shravanam Kirtanam, ninefold devotion service to please Guru and Krishna, that we have to do. So normally, let us say if there's a day where we have free time, we can do some Nizal Ekadasi, it will enhance our chanting, very good. Someday, let us say it is a day of service, where we are supposed to perform a lot of service. And if I don't drink water, I'll faint. So let me drink water and please Krishna. So whatever please Guru and Krishna, we are ready to do that. So that's simple answer.
Yes. Thank you.
Otherwise, sometimes devotees, we have practically seen perform certain austerities and that becomes big trouble. I know one of my friends, brahmachari friends, actually I was a brahmachari trainer, so one of the trainee was there. For many years I was there in Calcutta. So he did Beast Panchat and he knew he has trouble with certain things which he was eating at that time, like bananas and rice he was taking, boiled rice and certain things he was taking. That creates such a constipation for him that for not Panchak, another 1 week he was not able to pass anything out. And then finally he had to be sent to hospital. So whole 1 week of sadhana was spoiled. So then I said that you are not qualified for this Panchak. Those who are qualified, their bodies can stay fit. For them, it is very good. So we have to see for ourselves. It's like individual. And we have to also see at different circumstances. Same person who can perform a lot of austerities initially may not be able to perform after a few years. So we have to see according to time, place, circumstances. But whatever enhances our Krishna consciousness, we should do. Hare.
Yes. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, now we can go to verse 24. Please read 24.
The Lord's potencies are innumerable. As he lies down in the water of devastation, I am born as a total universal energy from the navel lake in which the lotus sprouts. I am now engaged in manifesting his diverse energies in the form of the cosmic manifestation. I therefore pray that in the course of my material activities, I may not be deviated from the vibration of the Vedic hymns. Would you purport also?
No, Mataji.
Yes.
Just a minute. Hare Krishna. So we don't have to read the purport. So in this particular verse, Brahmaji is glorifying the Lord as the source of Vedic knowledge. So although he is the knower of Vedas, he is not saying, oh, I'm the knower of the Vedas. What is he saying? My dear Lord, I have whatever ability I have is because of your mercy, which has come from studying the Vedas. Because Vedas are your eyes. Vedas give clear vision. So in this way, Vedas are the expansion of your eyes. But because of lack of concentration, it might happen that I may sometimes forget the Vedas. But my dear Lord, don't allow it to happen. Because I came from the lake which is there in your navel. And I am the presiding deity of Buddhi Tattva, Vigyan Shakti. So let me not forget the Vedas. So let the Vedas coming from my limbs not be lost as I create the universe. Let me not forget anything because of your Maya. So he prays so that he doesn't forget the Vedic knowledge. And then this is the famous verse, which many of the pujaris also read daily. Okay, Premananda Gopinath.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Vedas to be like the edge of a sharpened razor. A little inattentiveness may at once create havoc and bloodshed. Eyes, you told, not mentioned here.
Okay. So, why is it compared to be like edged sword? Prabhupada is basically, when he's mentioning that, he's mentioning to Karma Kanda. So Karma Kanda is very dangerous. So we were talking about austerities. Now generally devotees perform austerities for enhancing Sravanam Kirtanam. But if you perform austerities from Karma Kanda point of view, it is very dangerous. For example, somebody is doing Chaturmas for 4 months. He doesn't do the Paran properly. He will get 2 results. First result is no benefit for performing Chaturmas, 0, from Karma Kanda point of view. Second result, sin for doing improper Parana, not doing Paran properly. So that's why Karma Kanda is like 2-edged sword. If you get benefit, you will get a lot of benefit, but little bit here and there, Hare Krishna. If Bhakti was like Karma Kanda, I don't know, at least which universe I would go. Because while giving, reciting the slokas, even chanting Hare Krishna, sometimes our meter is not so proper. For Karma Kanda, it is so dangerous that we will be reading the story of Vritrasura. Instead of chanting in Satro, and then a demon was created who was supposed to be killed by Indra. So recently I went to South India and one devotee who is very expert in Sanskrit recitation. He was so much strongly trying to me, Prabhu, your pronunciation is so bad. You have to learn Sanskrit. And then he was saying, really speaking, most of the ISKCON devotees, their pronunciation is so bad. And then he was giving examples. He was saying, we say, Dalita Hiranyakasipu, Dalita. So if you say Dalita, that is referring to Hiranyakasipu. But if you say Dalita little longer, it becomes wife of Hiranyakasipu. So Tanu Bringam, Lord Narasimha didn't kill the wife of Hiranyakasipu, he killed Hiranyakasipu only. So the point is that because it is Bhavagrai Janardana, we are safe. Otherwise, Vedas are really dangerous. I hope I am able to answer the question. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Diksha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I understood the answer that it was related to the Karma Kanda. But Prabhuji, what was the question that Prabhuji asked from the purport? Was it related to the razor's edge?
Yeah. It was related to the razor's edge.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we'll go to the text 25. So this famous verse you can recite after me, and Pujaris already recite in the Pujari rooms. So Asavadabra Karano Bhagavan Vivriddha
Karuna Bhagavan Vivriddha
Premasmite Nayanam Guruhum Vrijamban
Premasmitena Braham Vijarbam.
Utthaya Visvajaya Chano Visadam.
Uttaya Visva Vijay Chano Visadam.
Madhva Girapanetat Purusah Puranaha.
Madhvaya Girpanyata Purusha Purana.
Yes, please read translation purport.
The Lord, who is supreme and is the oldest of all, is unlimitedly merciful. I wish that he may smilingly bestow his benediction upon me by opening his lotus eyes. He can uplift the entire cosmic creation and remove our dejection by kindly speaking his directions. The Lord is ever increasingly merciful upon the fallen souls of this material world. The whole cosmic manifestation is a chance for all to improve themselves in devotional service to the Lord, and everyone is meant for that purpose. The Lord expands himself into many personalities who are either self-expansions or separated expansions. The personalities of the individual souls are separated expansions, whereas the expansions are the Lord himself. The self-expansions are predominators and the separated expansions are predominated for reciprocation of transcendental bliss with the supreme form of bliss and knowledge. The liberated souls can join in this blissful reciprocation of predominator and predominated without materially concocted ideas. The typical example of such a transcendental exchange between the predominator and the predominated is the Lord's Rasa Leela with the gopis. The gopis are predominated expansions of the internal potency, and therefore the Lord's participation in the Rasa Leela dance is never to be considered like the mundane relationship of a man and a woman. It is rather the highest perfectional stage of the exchange of feelings between the Lord and the living entities. The Lord gives the fallen souls the chance for this highest perfection of life. Lord Brahma is entrusted with the management of the complete cosmic show, and therefore he prays that the Lord bestow his blessings upon him so that he may execute its purpose.
Hare Krishna. So in this particular verse and purport, Prabhupada is talking about, of course, if you go in the line of the verses, then Brahma is praying to the Lord to open his eyes, because unless until he opens his eyes and gives instructions, how will Brahmaji get further instructions to create the world? And that's why he's praying that, mighty Lord, please open your eyes and be merciful to me. And Prabhupada talks about his mercy aspect, how Lord is so much merciful to the fallen souls. So within this world or in the spiritual world, like Prabhupada gives in the, for spiritual world, Prabhupada gives the example of gopis. And within this world, even those who are enjoying sense gratification, it's because of Lord's mercy. In the daytime, Lord comes as sun and dispels the darkness so that living entities can see the sense objects which they want to enjoy. In the night time, he comes as moon and gives the same light. And apart from that, he also nourishes the vegetables by which we can relish different tastes of different vegetables. So it is Lord only who allows living entities to enjoy sense gratification the way they want. He has created all 14 planetary systems for that purpose only. There's no corner of the universe where one's desire will not get fulfilled. All sort of desires will get fulfilled. And then when we want to serve Krishna, Krishna can go to any extent. Like Mainas people say why did Krishna dance with gopis? If he danced with gopi, then he's not God. I would say it is other way around. If Krishna didn't dance with gopis, I would not say that is God. Because how can he be called like God when he cannot fulfill the desires of his highest devotees who want to dance with him? If some devotees want to dance with him and they want to treat him like a boyfriend, they want him to be, they themselves to be treated like a girlfriend, and they want to dance with him. If Lord can't fulfill that desire, he's not Supreme Lord. So the very fact Krishna fulfills desires of all people in this world, as well as in the spiritual world, he is Supreme Lord. So Krishna has that ability. Only difference is Krishna is predominant and we are predominant. Nityo Nityanam Chetana Chetanam Eko Bahunam Yo Vedati Kaman. We are eternals, Nitya, Krishna is eternal. We are conscious, Krishna is conscious. But Eko Bahunam, this one person is different. How? Yo Vedati Kaman. He fulfills the desires of all living entities. Whether to enjoy sense gratification or to serve Krishna in any way. So that is how Krishna is different from us. So in this way, he is predominator. He can fulfill all his desires. And he can fulfill all our desires. We can't fulfill any of our desires, but we have to be dependent on Krishna if we want to fulfill our desires. So Krishna is an independent enjoyer and we are dependent enjoyers. That is the difference. So he is predominator and we are predominant. So Prabhupada beautifully brings out this concept in his purport. Now we can read 26, 27, 28 all three.
The sage Maitreya said, O Vidura, after observing the source of his appearance, namely the personality of Godhead, Brahma prayed for his mercy as far as his mind and words would permit him. Thus, having prayed, he became silent, as if tired from his activities of penance, knowledge, and mental concentration. The Lord saw that Brahma was very anxious about the planning and construction of the different planetary systems and was depressed upon seeing the devastating water. He could understand the intention of Brahma, and thus he spoke in deep, thoughtful words, removing all the illusion that had arisen.
So now Brahmaji had done things to the best of his ability, as far as mind and words can go. And we'll find these limitations are given at many places in Bhagavatam. Limitations of one's tiny intelligence, one's minute intelligence. So even in the liberated state, one doesn't become God. Even in the liberated state, one cannot say that I know everything. Krishna knows everything. But even in pure state, in personalities like Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, they don't claim that we know everything. And the reason is because we are living entities. So being living entities, we can't know everything. Like Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj can't even imagine that Krishna must be dancing with some young girls. He's so innocent, such my own baby. How can he dance with anyone? They can't, that thought cannot cross their brains. So in this way, even in the liberated state, one cannot know. So that's why whether it's Brahma, even Sukdev Goswami in 5th Canto, he says that I can tell about Bhumandal to the best of my ability. Because it is so vast. So that's why even pure devotees, they know everything about how to reciprocate with Krishna, but they don't have the knowledge like Krishna. Like for example, very simple example. We may be sitting in one temple. And if some pure devotee is giving a class in the temple, let us say even he may be GBC of the temple. If you ask him, Prabhu or Maharaj, whoever, Mataji, how many cement bags were required to build this temple? They may be POTBD, they may not know. But Krishna knows. Even the engineer who made it may not know. Even the person who had supplied it might have forgotten, but Krishna will not forget. So that is how yatha mati yatha srutam. As we hear and understand, that much we expect. So Brahmaji, he was also trying his best, but seeing the water devastation, he knew I can't create. He was very depressed, and seeing his depression, Lord now starts replying. So 29 to 43 are the verses which talk about Lord's reply to Brahma. Please read 29 translation purpose.
The Supreme Personality of yeah. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then said, O Brahma, O depth of Vedic wisdom, be neither depressed nor anxious about the execution of creation. What you are begging from me has already been granted before. Perfect. Any person authorized by either the Lord or by his bona fide representative is already blessed, as is the work entrusted to him. Of course, the person entrusted with such a responsibility should always be aware of his incapability and must always look for the mercy of the Lord for the successful execution of his duty. One should not be puffed up because he is entrusted with certain executive work. Fortunate is he who is so interested, and if he is always fixed in the sense of being subordinate to the will of the Supreme, he is sure to come out successful in the discharge of his work. Arjuna was entrusted with the work of fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and before he was so entrusted, the Lord had already arranged for his victory. But Arjuna was always conscious of his position as subordinate to the Lord, and thus he accepted him as the supreme guide in his responsibility. Anyone who takes pride in doing responsible work but does not give credit to the Supreme Lord is certainly falsely proud and cannot execute anything nicely. Brahma and persons in the line of his disciplic succession who follow in his footsteps are always successful in the discharge of loving transcendental service to the Supreme Lord.
Like the discussion was going on, how to be free from pride. The answer is given here. So we are not very powerful. We are not very charismatic. We are very fortunate. We are very fortunate to be instrument in the hands of Guru and Krishna. Very fortunate to be instrument in the hands of Sri Prabhupada. And that's why many of us may be having this experience that we were not big orators, big managers before coming to Krishna consciousness. But after coming to Krishna consciousness, such charisma comes out. And sometimes we ourselves are amazed. Sometimes we find that even I would talk about myself. I was not like, I could hardly mumble some words out of my mouth. And that's why sometimes some teachers would punish me also, right? You can't give an answer properly. But then after some time, we become so successful, then people say that we are ready to dedicate our lives for you. Now, who are we that people will dedicate their lives for us? So everything, so this is actually Krishna's grace only. But we should remember it is Krishna's grace, it is not our grace. As soon as that grace goes away, that empowerment also goes away. So that is how Brahmaji already got that grace not to be entangled. That's what Lord is saying. Please read 30th also. This in the same line.
O Brahma, situate yourself in penance and meditation and follow the principles of knowledge to receive my favor. By these actions, you will be able to understand everything from within your heart. The mercy the Lord bestows upon a particular person engaged in executing the responsible work entrusted unto him is beyond imagination. But his mercy is received due to our penance and perseverance in executing devotional service. Brahma was entrusted with the work of creating the planetary systems. The Lord instructed him that when he meditated, he would very easily know where and how the planetary systems must be arranged. The directions were to come from within, and there was no necessity for anxiety in that task. Such instructions of Buddhi Yoga are directly imparted by the Lord from within, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:20.
Rami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yen Mam Upandite. So, Lord, so this is another instruction. So certainly this is a path of grace, but one should not be lazy that we don't have perseverance, we don't perform penances, we don't do hard work to get that grace. So grace is already there. Only thing is, we have to do our hard work to achieve that grace. It's like cemetery wood. Cemetery wood already has fire within. But when it is rubbed properly, then that fire comes out. So similarly, we have that grace with us, but by doing proper bhajan and following instruction of the spiritual master and Guru Parampara, we get that grace. Now you can read both 31 and 32.
O
It's
Brahma,
all three.
O Brahma, when you are absorbed in devotional service in the course of your creative activities, you'll see me in you and throughout the universe. And you will see that you, yourself, the universe, and the living entities are all in me. 32. You will see me in all living entities as well as all over the universe, just as fire is situated in wood. Only in that state of transcendental vision will you be able to be free from all kinds of illusion. 33. When you are free from the conception of gross and subtle bodies, and when your senses are free from all influences of the modes of material nature, you will realize your pure form in my association. At that time, you will be situated in pure consciousness.
So seeing Lord in everything and within ourselves, this is which form of the Lord?
Shirodakshai.
Shirodaksha Vishnu, right. Then see the entire universe and living entities within the Lord. Which is that personality?
Universal form.
Virat Rup.
Virat Rupa.
Virat Rup.
Okay, Virat Rup. And
It can be Mahavishnu as well, because all the living entities are.
Mahavishnu also we can say.
Shirodakshai Vishnu also can be said.
No, see, Shirodaksha Vishnu is within all of us. But we all are within. So Virat Rup is one answer, which is right. Shirodaksha Vishnu also. And we can see even Garbhodaksha Vishnu, because at the devastation at the end of the Brahma, living entities also go inside the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And if you talk about living entities over all the universes, then it is Mahavishnu. That means Brahmaji will get Paramatma realization of all three Vishnus. Lord has guaranteed them. And Lord says, how you will see that, see me, like those who are experts can see that there is fire in the wood also. So similarly, Lord is within all of us, although not grossly visible, but those who have transcendental vision can see. Santa Sadaiva Hrideshu Vilokyanti. And when one is free from gross and subtle bodies, not identifying with gross body and subtle body, then one is free from modes. And when one is free from modes, one can realize the form of Lord and one's relationship with the Lord. Please read the purport of 33.
In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that a person whose only desire is to render transcendental loving service to the Lord is a free person in any condition of material existence. That service attitude is the Swarup or real form of the living entity. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also confirms this statement by declaring that the real spiritual form of the living entity is eternal servitorship to the Supreme Lord. The Mayavadi school shooters at the thought of a service attitude in the living entity, not knowing that in the transcendental world, the service of the Lord is based on transcendental love. Transcendental loving service is never to be compared to the forced service of the material world. In the material world, even if one is under the conception that he is no one's servant, he is still the servant of his senses, under the dictation of the material modes. Factually, no one is master here in the material world, and therefore the servants of the senses have a very bad experience of servitude. They shudder at the thought of service because they have no knowledge of the transcendental position. In transcendental loving service, the servitor is as free as the Lord. The Lord is Swaraj, or fully independent, and the servant is also fully independent for Swaraj in the spiritual atmosphere because there is no forced service. There, the transcendental loving service is due to spontaneous love. A reflected glimpse of such service is experienced in the service of the mother onto the son, the friend's service onto the friend, or the wife's service onto the husband. These reflections of service by friends, parents, or wives are not forced but are due only to love. Here in this material world, however, the loving service is only a reflection. The real service or service in Swarup is present in the transcendental world in association with the Lord. The very same service in transcendental love can be practiced in devotion here. This verse is also applicable to the Jnani school. The enlightened Jnani, when free from all material contaminations, namely the gross and subtle bodies, together with the senses of the material modes of nature, is placed in the Supreme and is thus liberated from material bondage. The Jnanis and the devotees are actually in agreement up to the point of liberation from material contamination. But whereas the Jnanis remain pacified on the platform of simple understanding, the devotees develop further spiritual advancement in loving service. The devotees develop a spiritual individuality in this spontaneous service attitude, which is enhanced on and on up to the point of Madhura Ras, or transcendental loving service reciprocated between the lover and the beloved.
Prabhupada has given like a, you can say this, one of the powerful purports. The Prabhupada explained that how, what is the Swarup of the living entities? It's the form of loving devotion service. That means whatever form is required to serve Krishna in the best possible way, we will get that form in the spiritual world. If we don't understand that, then lot of different type of questions come in the minds. Like when I was doing youth preaching, one of the famous questions which ITNs would ask is, why Krishna had to dance with gopis? He could have danced with sages, na? Sages with long beard, long mustache, and no Krishna would be dancing. Nobody would have any doubt on Krishna. Why Krishna had to dance with gopis and then so many people are confused. So the form of gopis are the best form to serve Krishna in that rasa. So these are the natural forms. So in this world also, generally ladies have that nature to assist. That nature is there. No? So they remain as a strength and they become very happy. So similarly, in the spiritual world also, that's the rather this world is a reflection of the spiritual world. So women, even if they assist their husband, they don't feel, oh, why we are women, why we are assisting the husbands. No, we should have a name everywhere. They don't feel like that. So the point is that that's the nature. So whatever is required for us to serve Krishna, we will get that form in the spiritual world. Only thing is that in this world, sometimes we have frustrated experience of service. Sometimes we serve and don't get the type of reciprocation from the master whom we serve, whether it is in personal relationships, in the corporate world, or in different places, sometimes in the temples also. But in the spiritual world, Krishna is the best master. So in whatever rasa we serve Krishna, we are fully satisfied. And whatever is required to serve Krishna, complete independence is given in the spiritual world. Next, to the degree, even time is in control of the devotees in the spiritual world. Like sometimes in the altar, it is 7:30 in the morning when Darshan Arti is there, and we find that in the backdrop there is a moon, there is a night scene, there are stars everywhere. But devotees want to serve Krishna in that way. And Krishna also said, has a dress as if no, he's enjoying in night time. But in the spiritual world, you don't have to just create backdrop. You can have night time if you want to serve Krishna at that time. And even when Krishna descended in this world, Krishna inculcated millions of days of Brahma in one night when he was there with gopis. So to the degree, to the full extent they wanted to serve Krishna, Krishna allowed. So that is how in spiritual world, we are not controlled by time. One can control the time to serve Krishna. So whatever is required to serve Krishna, whatever form is required, whatever required, whatever ingredients are required, everything is provided. So we can serve Krishna to the best of our ability. And it's like very pleasurable. Okay. And we can read 35th and its purport.
Since you have desired to increase the population innumerably and expand your varieties of service, you shall never be deprived in this matter, because my causeless mercy upon you will always increase for all the time. Purport also?
My purport of next verse. After reading 35, you can read its purport.
You are the original Rishi. And because your mind is always fixed on me, even though you will be engaged in generating various progeny, the various modes of passion will never encroach upon you. Purport? Yes? Okay. The same assurance is given to Brahma in the second canto, chapter 9, verse 36. Being so favored by the Lord, Brahma's schemes and plans are all infallible. If sometimes Brahma is seen to be bewildered, as in the 10th canto, he is bewildered by seeing the action of the internal potency. That is also for his further advancement in transcendental service. Arjuna is found to be similarly bewildered. All such bewilderment of the pure devotees of the Lord is specifically meant for their further advancement in knowledge of the Lord. Although I am not.
That's all. So I'll just speak something about these two purports. So now Lord is telling to Brahmaji, as Brahmaji was worrying that I should not be entangled by mode of passion, Lord said, you will not be entangled. And then Lord will sometimes give bewilderment to Arjuna. Rather, when Lord gives bewilderment to Brahma and Brahma Leela, some of the acharyas comment that it is by the Yoga Maya potency. Because Krishna was playing with the Gopas, he wanted to have some fun with the Gopas, and he also wanted to fulfill the desire of all the ladies and cows of Vrindavan that they can have Krishna as their own son. Krishna Bhakta Snachira Kimo Gavu Anumata Raha. how fortunate are the ladies and cows of Vrindavan who got an opportunity to feed Krishna their own breast milk. So they want Krishna at their own son. Krishna expanded in this form, and that is how he involved Brahma. So Krishna may sometimes bewilder pure devotees, but that is only for the purpose of his pastimes. Please read 36 and 37.
Although I am not easily knowable by the conditioned soul, you have known me today because you know that my personality is not constituted of anything material, and specifically not of the 5 gross and 3 subtle elements. When you were contemplating whether there was a source to the stem of the lotus of your birth, and you even entered into that stem, you could not trace out anything. But at that time, I manifested my from within.
So physically, you were not able to search me even when you were going up and down in the lotus, being fearful of the waves of Garbhoda question you are coming up. But it is by my grace that you are able to see my form, which is not material. Lord is again telling it, it's like, no, it's not a material form. It's a spiritual form. It is not a form made of 5 gross and 3 subtle elements. So he makes it very clear. Because many times people say, oh, Brahma Samhita is not bona fide, nobody knows. But Lord is speaking here to Brahma that my form is not made up of 5 gross and 3 subtle elements. So if Brahma is going to speak Brahma Samhita after this, that's like his realization. You can repeat this verse after me. Yacha kartanga matstrotam matkathabhyu tayankitam
Abhyahantikam
yadva tapasite nishtha
yadva tapasite nishtha
sa esha mad anugraha.
Saisa mad anugraha.
Translation.
O Brahma, the prayer that you have chanted, praising the glories of my transcendental activities, the penances you have undertaken to understand me, and your firm faith in me, all these are to be considered my causeless mercy. Purport. When the living entity desires to serve the Lord in transcendental loving service, helps the devotees in so many ways as the Chaitya Guru or the spiritual master within, and thus the devotee can perform many wonderful activities beyond material estimation. By the mercy of the Lord, even a layman can compose prayers of the highest spiritual perfection. Such a spiritual perfection is not limited by material qualification, but is developed by dint of one's sincere endeavor to render transcendental service. Voluntary endeavor is the only qualifications for spiritual perfection. Material acquisitions of wealth or educations are not considered.
So in whatever position we may be, if we just endeavor to serve Krishna, that is perfection. In material life, result is the perfection. In the spiritual life, voluntary spiritual endeavor is the perfection. That's it. So very easy. You can read a second transcendental purport also.
I am very much pleased by your descriptions of me in terms of my transcendental qualities, which appear mundane to the mundaners. I grant you all benedictions in your desire to glorify all the planets of your activities. Purpose. Pure devotees of the Lord, like Brahma and those in his line of disciplic succession, always desire that the Lord be known all over the universe by each and every one of the living entities. That desire of the devotee is always blessed by the Lord. The impersonalists sometimes praise for the mercy of the personality of Godhead, Narayana, as the embodiment of material goodness. But such prayers do not satisfy the Lord because he is not thereby glorified in terms of his actual transcendental qualities. The pure devotees of the Lord are always most dear to him, although he is always kind and merciful to all living entities. Here the word Gunmayam is significant because it indicates the Lord possessing transcendental qualities. Hare Krishna.
Whenever pure devotees of the Lord, they pray the Lord having transcendental qualities, then Lord becomes very much satisfied. So now we have, okay, this very big purport. We will just take translation of one more verse and then we'll stop. Experiment, you can just read the question and this translation of 40 and then ask question and then we'll end.
Any human being who prays like Brahma and who thus worships me shall very soon be blessed with the fulfillment of all his desires, for I am the Lord of all benediction.
What to say of Brahma? Anyone who worships me like Brahma will also get fulfillment of his desires. Okay. So we can just take Prabhu's question, and then we'll have 3-4 verses which will continue in the next.
So in text number 26, thus having prayed, he became silent as if tired from his activities of penance. As if. In the text number 30, Krishna is saying, O Brahma, situate yourself in penance and meditation and follow the principles of knowledge to receive my favor. So my question is that already Brahmaji became tired of penance and knowledge, and again Krishna is telling to do the penance and meditation, or what is it?
It is like a brahmachari is really tired after serving in Rathatra, and then temple authorities say, Prabhu, you have another winding up seva now, and he's already sleeping in ground. It's not like that. Brahmaji was tired of his penances, and Lord is giving this instruction for rest of the creation, actually. Another phase of creation. And whenever in the future creation takes place, that time you can perform all these penances. And whenever you perform these penances, continue these penances, you will not be caught up in mode of passion and you will be successful in your creation. So that's a general instruction for future. That's not like immediately Lord is saying do more penances and you will understand. It's not like that. Okay. Yes, Duti Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, like in work text 40, it is written that the Lord declares that any human being who prays like Brahma and who does worships me shall very soon be blessed with the fulfillment of all his desires. So, Prabhuji, I just had a question. It might be a silly one, but like I'm not able to understand that. So, Brahma, we know he's a pure devotee of the Lord. Then why is he again and again forgetting about the Lord? After sometimes he has to again meditate. He has to start from the scratch, and then he attains knowledge, and then he receives mercy, and then he again forgets. And because we know devotees, their only desire is to never forget about the Lord. In whatever situation they are. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it also say that Sei Bhakt Dhanya Jena Chali Prabhu Charana. So how to understand that this forgetting pastime of Brahma, where he again forgets and has to again meditate?
So now forgetting can be of two types. One, forgetting can be out of because of influence of Yogamaya potency, as we had discussed before. Like Arjuna forgetting and Bhagavad Gita and getting bewildered. That was because of Yogamaya potency. So similarly, in case of Brahma Leela also, one of the purports, I think of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur only, as far as I remember. He writes that this is because of Yogamaya potency. So this is one reason. Second reason can be that even pure devotees can be influenced by Maya for some time. Sometimes we have a, you can say, utopian concept about pure devotees. But as far as pure devotees are also concerned, even they can sometimes be influenced by Maya for some time. And Brahmaji has such a huge lifespan that even if he gets bewildered once in one day of Brahma, that's not like, that's so minimal. So minimal. So in that sense, it's not like something very big time spent, it's like a very small time spent.
Because Prabhuji, it's like said that sometimes he forgets and sometimes he remembers. It's mentioned that, it's sometimes like he forgets about the creation and sometimes he remembers the creation. So like, that's what I wanted to understand, that is it just the effect of Yogamaya that sometimes he forgets or sometimes, or it's that like Maya as well affecting his some days?
See, forgetting creation is a different thing. Forgetting Krishna is a different thing. So forgetting creation is because, so there's no electricity, maybe it will get off in few seconds. So I'll quickly answer and then class will end. So forgetting Krishna, it is sometimes because of being influenced by Mahamaya for some time or because of Yogamaya. And forgetting creation is a natural thing. Like Prabhupada himself, I remember one lecture he was giving and he forgot one verse. And he said that because of old age, I am not able to remember. And I remember one Prabhupada disciple, Mataji, who was sitting there and she laughed very loudly. And then we were asking, Mataji, why are you laughing? So she said, you will understand that when you become old. So in